Okay, let's see what this interesting one turns out like. Right. Let's see what we do. Well, we're going to make this a 400%er. Add some contrast to this. This will be an interesting one if we can make it look good. It's a bit tatty, it's been damaged, but I found it on the ground and thought it would make a good demo piece. So let's see just what it is. It is, a lot of children love this, Dora the Explorer. I don't know how this is going to turn out. The eyes look a bit blendy with the rest of the character. Dora the Explorer. That's just my shoes. They're a bit wet. Well, not just a bit wet. Extremely wet from the wet weather we've had today. So it's been no fun going out in the rain and having to find stuff for my demos and purchase things. I did buy a really nice raincoat for less than half price, I think it is. So I'm really happy about that. Even though I didn't wear it, I just took it home. I had an umbrella today, so let's see how this looks. Actually, that looks better than I thought. Yeah, that looks quite nice. I do think it'll look better on the horizontal, turning it horizontal. Butterflies, Lars Mariposas, because the Dora the Explorer, from what I understand, is meant to be Spanish, and a lot of kids, when they watch Dora, they learn a bit of Spanish along the way, so to speak. Now that's stuck. So yeah, she's meant to be Spanish as a character. We're just going to throw that on the wrist, in the bin. It's been damaged. It's sort of been cut almost through. But basically, yeah, she's supposed to be Spanish, so you can learn a bit of Spanish from her, as well as learning your normal English. So Dora the Explorer is quite, well, educational, I guess. I don't have kids, so I wouldn't understand too much about parenting. I don't have children. I'm never going to have children, folks. I'm never going to have children. I don't have time, and I've got things I want to do, and I want to build photocopiers one day, and that'll mean I have no time for motherhood. And I'm also, I do think I'm going through menopause, even though I don't feel the hot flushes and all that. I do feel like things are not, like my cycle has become irregular and usually short, sometimes short, and it's just, my mum didn't go through the pain of menopause either, so I think my menopause is coming off my mum. But I'm now 46, so I'd be too old anyway to have children. I don't want children. I've never been, since I was a 10-year-old, I've always wanted to get married but not have children. I'm just not that kind of person that just loves to be around kids. I'm just not that kind of person, folks. That doesn't look too good. I'm thinking it should be, I might enlarge it bigger, but basically I just don't have any interest in children, having a child. It's a big responsibility, folks, and your heart's got to be in it. It's like, even if you want it, like when you want to design a photocopier, for example, your heart's got to be in it. Otherwise you produce shit like this. So, you got to basically, your heart, mind and your soul have got to be engaged in an activity before you can do anything decent. Otherwise you're not going to produce anything good. So actually it's got to be bigger than 150, or maybe, I don't know, whatever. So, you've got to basically have the passion and the drive. And having children, you need passion and drive to have children, because having children, you've got to love the children and teach them teach them really well, you know, make them happy and keep them interested in life. And, you know, you can't just allow your children to just be left aside, you know, because if you really, you know, you gotta want to have children to bring them up properly. And that you got to have enough money as well to help them too. It's really sad that a lot of families break up, and it's usually the woman that's left alone with the child. So it's not all. It's the plans are obviously a lot of people don't plan to become single mums, and single mums really have a hard time trying to bring their children up. But often they start off as married, but it's usually the husband that decides to run away, although it's not always the case. But you'd have to be, it means you've got to really love your children to be able to bring them up properly. Whatever. I'm so glad I don't have children. I've never wanted children, and I'm very fortunate. I never, how should I put it? Fortunately, none of the men that I dated when I was young raped me when I was still fertile, because if I had been raped, I would have been forced to have a child against my will. And I'm a person who doesn't, to be honest, right, I don't believe in abortion. So, and basically I would have had an unwanted child. I had one guy that I was going out with who wanted to have children with me, and I didn't. So you talk about a mismatched relationship we had, and we always fought. So you got to basically make sure your relationship is in good stead, so you can avoid becoming a single mum, because it must be hard being a single mum. You know, there's a lot of hard work. It's hard to juggle bills and food and stuff like that, as well as keep a child happy. But, you know, but it's not your fault, you know. Usually it's not your fault. It's just circumstances changed, and that's it, you know. And I'm sure single fathers should also be admired too for their work, because it's not just the mum that gets single. Sometimes the father does. But we all make mistakes, and we just have to try and plan not to make any more. It's easy to make mistakes, and I've done some pretty dumb things myself. Even though I never ended up having unwanted children, I had a lot of unwanted results in my life. And yeah, that there is hope anyway for the future. But anyway, enough about that. I think that looks interesting. There we have it, Dora the Explorer reimagined.